is an Iranian scientist who came with an extremely very adequate way of describing what is light, what is the propagation of light, how light goes through the eye through the synapses to the brain. And I must say, it is a really unique piece of work in the sense is that he is recognized as the father of optics, Ibn al-Haytham. And well, in fact, his contribution to optics, refraction, Huygens principle, reflection, the corpuscular, the Einstein, I repeat myself, Einstein, nature of the photons as a corpuscle. This gentleman, as Isaac Newton, he has indeed made these basics, rules of optics. And this gentleman, as old as he is, he has been equated somehow to Thomas Edison. If there was no Thomas Edison, we would not have this one. If there was no Thomas Edison, we would not have this light. He was equated as, indeed, like Newton, as well as Thomas Edison, modern contribution, Al-Haytham. He edited a book, many books, 25 books, but only some books came to Europe through the translation and so on. Having said that, how light is extremely important to our daily life. And for the GPS, all of us, we use your cell phone. When we are in Europe or whatever, in the US or other parts of the world, automatically when our cell phones change its time, it's a GPS. It is a time regulated and controlled system, that our cell phone. What is 1 second? What is 1 meter? What is 1 kilogram? All of them are related to light, indirectly. All of them. In fact, the International Union for Standards are trying to move out from the previous definition to something which is related to light propagation. What is a time? Time is really important. Sometimes I say, you know what, I wish I really to delay this time. I'm late, you know, the plane is late. Oh gosh, if I can trigger the clock and I will ensure that my participants will not be disturbed and so on, let me just push on a button. It is not the case. Nonetheless, time is important. إن الوقت كالسيف إن لم تقطعه يقطعك. Time is like sword. If you don't cut it, it will cut you. So at the end of the day, you have to obey by the time. I really admire my CSR people and the business in South Africa in respecting time as it should be, of course. German way. I really like this country, who is my country indeed. So the time has been defined according to light. What is the relationship between this brightness and a time? A time, philosophically speaking, you can discuss as much as you wish. Scientifically speaking, there are a number of equations. Who is right, who is wrong, something else. The end of the day, we have to come with a modus operandi. What is time? Well, so we have to take a reference. You say, what is second? No? By the way, a day was split into 24 hours by the Iraqis, ancient Iraqis, Sumer. 1 hour divided by 60 minutes by the Sumer Iraqis. 1 minute 60 seconds to 1 minute to 60 seconds by the Iraqis, Sumer. This is an extremely very old civilization. Of course, it came from the resurrection, more or less, of a human being moving out from Africa towards these civilizations. Nonetheless, 1 second has been defined as a reference relatively to something. Everything is relative, nothing is absolute. I am good to whom? I am better to whom? I am very bad to whom? Relative to whom? Therefore, a second has been defined according to, and that is it. If you have a cesium atom, for a specific reason, for which way, I don't think that we have to go through the details, but there are, in a cesium atom, there are transitions. These transitions are precise, accurate, like for the strontium. We take the cesium because it's easy to make cesium in an optical fountain. So, 1 second is this number of transition of an electron who moves from one level to another one. How many times? This is the number of times. And this number of times is precise, extremely precise. It is said that we do indeed have atomic clocks in South Africa and everywhere in Africa and everywhere in the world, but we don't have in Africa a high precision atomic clock. This is really has to be addressed by the DST and the National Laser Center as well as the African Laser Center. It's really sad that the time is given to us by the Europeans and by the US for the GPS. Nonetheless, the time definition of a second is defined by light. How much transitions of an electron moving from this orbital to that one, how many times it splits, it goes up and down, 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 that is the number.